Welcome to the Julia and Miguel show,
Where I'm Julia.
and I'm Miguel. I was thinking today maybe we should discuss the idea of communication. To be more specific,
Okay.
even more specific, the way that men communicate maybe versus the way that women communicate.
Yeah, no, I'm open to that conversation. And you're apparently closed to the conversation. So yeah, I can
No,
take
one thing I've talked about it before with some of my clients.
Uh-huh.
And there's a couple that in particular I really like because they prefer. Well, they take it from my point of view, right? So of course I'm going to agree with them. I'm going to like them and say I like the way you communicate. But they say that and you can tell me what you think of this. And this could be a generality, but you know what they say like, "Ooh, I'm dangerous, skating dangerous ground." If I'm about to say that. Let's just say that there are truths. That's why things become generalities, and/or another word that sometimes is used. So, but the concept being that when men talk, we just want to know the facts, the straight facts. It's like, when did it happen? I'll give you an example. Okay, let's say an individual walks in,
Mm-hmm.
and then you're saying, "Hey, what's going on? You seem to be you upset." Yeah, I just got a flat tire, and it took me like an hour to change it. Okay, cool. Versus, individual walks in. Hey, you doing all right? What's going on? I got up this morning and I got up earlier than I wanted to, and then I couldn't find my favorite mascara, and so you're upset about getting up the wrong time with the mascara, and then I ran out of milk. Oh, so you're upset about milk now, and then I went to and then it's like half hour later then change the tire story or something. So it's like the long-winded version. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about?
I know people.
You know people who know people, right? So that's what I'm talking about. Like, guys, we tend to be just like direct. Jack ran, he fell, skinned his knee, he's upset. Versus Sally got
Let
up
me
on the
tell
wrong
you
side of the bed
about-
today.
About what happened before the flat tire, so that you know how frustrating it was that I got the flat tire.
So
right? Like,
is that context really important in the communication process?
depends on who you ask, I suppose.
Okay. So what is your take on that? Because obviously I've just said like, hey, men, we're going to get straight to the point. We're going to tell you how it is. I think for the most part, I use the word men. I'm not here to make everybody happy. So if you disagree with me, sorry. But versus I find with the ladies, usually they'll tell you the whole, what happened in the play when I just want to know what happened in a certain part of the story.
Sure. No, that's fair. And obviously, I live with you, so I have been exposed to your
Ways of being,
yes.
my charming personality.
Get to the point.
I'm not that bad. Jeez.
No, you're not that bad. Because I'm
As she
not
looks
that
down,
bad.
I'm not that bad. You're not that bad, honest. What am I doing?
So I can share from the perspective of the person who appreciates the background story and the context, as you called it. I think it matters to some extent, but I can appreciate the need to get to the point. So I'll give you two examples. One, sometimes context is very important because it could change what you think about the actual fact. But I will say, in learning how to communicate better with you, that now
Let's take off with you and just see what.
communicate better. Maybe. You have me thinking now. Like, should I be? Okay, I'll think about that later because that could stay in my brain for a while. So, in learning to communicate better, one thing that I am working on. This is so hard. One thing that I am working on is starting with the fact and then saying, what really bothered me before, he tells me what the solution is, is to back up and give you the context. So I don't know that I've ever come to you with a flat tire, but let's use that example. So, I had a flat tire today. It made me late for work, and then you could say whatever you're going to say, but then I'll
Like, why didn't you call
explain.
AAA instead of trying to change it yourself?
Then I could go back.
Someone could have
and
told me that last
explain,
time, but
maybe the last time I called AAA, they were really mean, so I wasn't going to go there again. And
so now you're
which didn't
expressing
happen
out of past
'cause I
experiences.
right. So I shouldn't say that about AAA because I really love AAA. But you know what I'm saying. So what I've learned is start with the fact that's necessary, and so that you can at least be on the same page. Like, oh, she had a flat tire. That's terrible. I feel bad for her. That's how
I
"Oh, are
feel
you
bad
okay?"
for her.
And then you'd be able to listen because you'd already know. Because I think what used to happen in my old days is that you could see there was either frustration or anger or whatever, or I was sad about something, and then you wanted to know what the issue was, and instead of me just telling you what the thing was and then back up, you were almost like waiting, and I could understand that would be a frustrating experience when you want to help somebody and you want to care
Because
about
guys are
them.
fixers.
Yeah, right. Like, and you don't know what happened until the end. It's pretty frustrating. So yeah, I totally get that. And that was the one scenario. I don't remember what the other one was. I try to be more direct now.
But do you think that's this generality holds water? I guess you would say, like this concept that like women, as I always say, they beat around the bush when they're telling you the explanation. I just tell me the facts and let's get over it and move on, right?
Oh, you mean do I believe in the generality?
Yes. Do you believe in that generality?
I mean, I want people to like me.
People as in who? People you talk to or people watching this right now, right?
So I believe in.
I'm drawing my line in the sand. Boom. I say, I get straight to the points, and a lot of the women I talk to go around the bush. And I get it. Like, people like don't agree with that. They don't like to hear thoughts like that. But when you start really listening to communication, I mean, then again, it can depend what's the context of it. But for the most part, on a day-to-day basis, we just don't really need to know if you couldn't find your other shoe. This is how it works. You come into work, I don't know, you couldn't find your other shoe.
Yeah.
What's the issue?
Yeah.
Because I know, I'll give you an example. Like, I mean, this is a whole nother topic, I guess, like dragging around this emotion then, because you're looking at everything in the whole context. Versus with me, it's like,
That's a good point.
when I walk into the door at work, especially, it's like, before I even go in the door, whatever's going on gets checked at the door, and it's clean slate, tabula rasa, right? I just come in, there's nothing going on, everything's great. But, I generally don't have a whole lot of things I'm dragging around with me anyway, so I mean, it's like, pretty good. So it's just that concept. It's like the communication. And do you feel like women that you talk to? Because I've heard some of those calls before, and I'm like, oh my God, that call is so long.
So no, that never ever happens to me. No, in general, yeah, I would say. Well, like attracts like, right? So it makes sense that the people that I would be talking to, the females that I would be talking to, would probably communicate similarly, like I do. And yeah, I think in general, we all tend to share each other's patience with a longer story.
Okay, how about this? Let's flip it.
Okay.
So do you think that being willing to communicate the more, I'll say, a holistic approach, is that something guys should consider learning how to do? Or even on the other end, is like, does it beneficial for women just to like, bam, get to the point, move on?
I'm going to say, and this is a terrible answer, but it's my answer. I'm going to say both, right?
Oh,
I think
okay.
I think that there's a benefit to understanding the value of the whole story, the whole backstory, everything. And maybe if there's a need for an immediate, unveil of the exact thing, then say, hey, can you tell me, like learning how to navigate that in the conversation, like so that you're not negating any other story, right? Like saying, hey, I need to know up front what happened, and then tell me why you're so upset about it. And then on the female side, I think that there's definitely a value, because I mean I've learned a lot. So definitely a value to learn how to get to the point quicker and be more direct. One example, you helped me in interviewing process, right? Like getting ready for an interview. Like nobody wants to leave an interview and feel like they talked around circles. They want to share the important information as soon as possible. So I mean, so yes, there's value in, I think, both growing to see the other's perspective.
I think always seeing the other person's perspective is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
I know for me, I still struggle with that communication concept of just like, let's not get to the point. But the whole concept that you just made me think of then is another, let's say it's a quote,
Mm-hmm.
right, from Mr. Kennedy, which makes me, I think about this a lot. So the mind is like a parachute, and it operates best when open. So
Love that quote.
I love that quote a lot, and I think about it a lot. And so with that, I guess the method of communication, communication is always a good thing. Whether we need to, like, I personally can't imagine like trying to like tell my whole day just to get a point across about like one small thing. Maybe being tolerant for it is maybe something I could work on, maybe. But overall, you know me, I stick to my guns until I'm proven otherwise.
Yeah, no, I can appreciate that.
All right, well, I guess we'll let you make up your own mind about what you feel is best, and you can let us know what you think by giving us some comments down below. If you haven't already, like and subscribe, and we'll be seeing you in another episode in the very near future. Ciao mein.